Hey kids, you're about to listen to a comedy podcast. That means that none of this is medical advice. If you need medical advice or medical care, please contact your doctor.
Welcome to the Jock podcast featuring Dr. London Smith. The podcast with dreams of one day becoming bigger than Taylor Swift's carbon footprint. Introducing your host, Dr. London Swift.
Hello, and welcome to the Jock podcast, where we discuss fitness and health and how to incorporate our modern understanding of science and medicine into our daily lives, but without it being so boring. I'm your host, Dr. LondonSmith.com. I'd like to begin by apologizing to our listeners. We have received some feedback about the excessive amount of technical medical terms that I've been using, such as cryptocortism and battery full of itself. So I'll try to temper my terminology to a simpler one in the future. Here to help with that is our producer, Cameron.
Hey, Dr. London, I can't find my calendar. What day is it again?
Okay. No, it's good. It's good. I need to remember this. It started on Monday, correct? Sorry, I know this is on me.
Yeah.
It started on Monday. That makes today. It's Friday. I believe it's Friday.
Okay. Oh no. Do you realize what that means? Dr. London, it's the company picnic.
Oh.
I hate going to the company picnic.
Okay, yes. When the fall season rolls around, you know it's company picnic time.
Oh, I hate going to the company picnic. I guess just for the intro portion here, I guess we can just give advice on what to do for your company picnic, just how to get through this excruciating time, just real quick. Like, for example, don't talk to Danya. If you're going to talk to Danya, it needs to be for 2 minutes, because if it's more than 2 minutes, it's going to be 30 minutes. And you do not want that to happen.
And if it's going to be for 30 minutes, by the way, you're going to be making an investment into her piggy bank. Like, she calls it her little piggy bank.
She says it's a great investment opportunity, and then she shows it to you, and it's a piggy bank, and she expects... At that point, you look cheap for not putting $1 in.
Yeah. And she insists the whole time that it's not an NFT, that it's not a scam, it's not an NFT. And you're like, yeah, but it's a piggy bank. Like, that's... Right.
You're skeptical just that no one asked if it was an NFT. You know, that creates skepticism.
So, so Danya is, like, obviously you want to avoid it. Like, we should say, either limit your talking to her or become a real investor, become involved in her enterprise of the piggy bank. Because that's...
And that, if you've got the money for that, then good for you. I don't, unfortunately, because the initial investment is a lot. Do you have a tip, Dr. London?
So, you'll want to get a bigger blanket.
The blankets we provide can be, I think, more realistically called a paper towel.
Yeah, and...
Have you seen how expensive blankets are? We're not going to buy blankets for all of you guys. We're going to give you a paper towel. You can sit on it if you want. So, you should probably bring a blanket.
And also they're well-oiled rags. Is like paper towel is probably the more accurate term in terms of how they've held up, because we've been using the same ones for hundreds of years. They're vintage. That's how we get by with them, is we say these are vintage blankets, when really, yes, they are paper towel-ish rags that are just super oily. And because
you're not supposed to wash them. It's like those pans, like cast iron pans. Like, you're not supposed to wash it. You want the sort of stink and grime to get, like, grilled into it.
Yeah, or at least that's our understanding of how blankets work. But so an option would be just go ahead and bring a bigger blanket. Maybe one made out of, like, fibrous material, because ours is not made of that. Were there any other tips?
I mean, besides that, I've got one more, which is you don't want to eat the food that's being offered there.
Oh, no.
The food, I'm just going to be honest right now, the food that we are offering is food that we got for last year's picnic that was unused. Bring your own food, and so that way you can't complain to me if you get sick, because I'm going to tell you, I gave you these options. I assume all the employees are listening to this podcast right now.
There's so much drama at the picnic, and there's only so much prep we can give you. So, All right, Cameron, we have a sponsor today.
What? Are you sure?
Yeah. No, I am double checking here, and yes. So the sponsor today is Caldera Lab. They're Caldera Lab. As you can tell with my voice there, first impressions matter. So we are working with Caldera Lab to help everyone make great first impressions. So when you go to brush your teeth, when you go to prep for your first, the biggest way to show this first impression is, of course, at the ultimate job interview, which is an audition.
That's right. If you're listening to this podcast, we know who you are. You have a dream of making it to the big screen, or making it to the big stage, or the small screen.
Yes.
You want to be famous.
Or the small stage. Sorry, just
small stage, medium-sized stage, elevated
TikTok.
Trampoline, anything.
Yeah.
Maybe like an escape room. Any of these things that could make you a star.
Yeah. The ultimate escape room artist is a lot of what auditions are about. So to make that great first impression, you use Caldera Lab. It's a high-performance men's skincare product. It's a collection of skincare products, and the regimen leads off their product lineup with a twice-a-day routine to transform your skin. Caldera Lab knows that skincare world is heavily female-driven, but it's been the wild, wild west for men. So they make it simple with their regimen, which is 3 products, including the Clean Slate, the Base Layer, and the Good. The Clean Slate starts and ends your day with a face wash that leaves all skin types refreshed. The Base Layer is your daily moisturizer to hydrate your skin and jumpstart your day full of confidence. And you will need that confidence when you go into your audition with water balloons.
That's right. With this really simple routine, you're walking into the audition with 50% of the work already done. Like, you've already essentially got the job. You can only you can only lose points from where you're starting out with because your first impression is so strong thanks to Caldera Labs. But of course, you've got still 50% of the work to do. You have to make not just an impression of how good you look and how nice your skin is, but also an impression of this guy is willing to do anything. He's willing to take risks. He's willing to do it all to get this role. So you're going to walk in and you're going to start throwing water balloons at the casting agents. And
it's going to, at first, they will be surprised. That's good for you. That's a good first impression. Surprise is the biggest, especially if it's a comedy, if it's a drama, if it's anything. We all love a twist. We all love the M. Night Shyamalan ending of the water balloons in the face.
Well, they've been watching auditions all day with all these guys who look exactly like you sitting in the waiting room, but they're bored out of their mind. It's to jolt them awake with something exciting like being smashed in the face with a water balloon. And I do say smash because you've been to a couple of these auditions. Your aim is pretty terrible, so you're no longer really throwing it at their face. You're getting really close and then just sort of squishing it against their face until it breaks.
And you also left them, you wanted it to be cool for the summer. Summer's gone, and so you're really overdoing it now, so they're frozen also some of the time. So they're frozen water balloons that you throw at the face sometimes. Sometimes it's broken up a little bit. So that's one aspect of the good audition. But one thing I should mention is the night before, because you have to just start your prep work beforehand. You memorize your lines. You work on your blocking, which is how you walk around, how you face the camera.
Yeah,
and
sticking the water balloons in the freezer.
Yes. And the Good is your go-to multifunctional serum at night that helps your skin look tighter and smoother, as well as helps reduce the visibility of wrinkles and fine lines, which is important because they will record you with a camera while you're doing your live performance for them. And so you need to have those wrinkles and fine lines gone because you cannot show any expression, any wrinkle at all while you're performing.
Any sign that you're a human being with a real face, they don't want to see that. Yeah. Ideally, they shouldn't be seeing anything at all because their face is covered in water.
Yeah, and they should be struggling to wipe it off or recover from being hit in the head with a frozen water balloon.
Yeah.
They'll be on the ground. They should be crying. If you leave an audition and no one's crying,
you haven't left an impression. Yeah.
Yeah.
You made an initial fantastic impression with your glowing skin thanks to the Caldera services.
Yeah, but
the impression you would leave if they're not crying, they're not going to book you. They're not even going to remember who you are.
So there's also the the Caldera Lab Icon Serum, which addresses the 3 most common skin concerns around the eye, fine lines, dark circles, and puffiness. Now, their eyes will be puffy because you will have thrown the hardened frozen balloons at their eye. They'll be puffy at first, and then they will develop into a full black eye. There will be a collection of blood underneath the skin there.
That's a great opportunity for you to sell Caldera to them. Just be like, hey, I've got some great products. Here's maybe my coupon code that you can use.
Yeah, you'll say Jock Doc, use Jock Doc at checkout for Caldera Lab. Fix your eye. That's a great. I don't want to give it too much away because I use these in my auditions. But you can say, hey, try using this to fix that eye of yours. It's ugly right now. And you can use this to work in. And then they'll be like, oh, wow, he's really observant, which, by the way, is something that actors are supposed to be. Observant. So if they see that you see stuff, they love that. So call them out. Caldera Lab is a leader of men's skincare, made only with top-tier ingredients, and clinical trials have found that 94% of men's skin showed an overall younger-looking appearance after using Caldera Lab for a few weeks. Just using morning and night, it helps reduce your wrinkles, fine lines, and signs of aging. And just for our audience, we have an exclusive offer, and this is their best offer available anywhere. Use code JOCKDOC at calderalab.com and get 20% off right now. And once again, do use this in your interview. Use our code. This is very important.
Yes. I know we just said that it's just for our audience. It's for our audience and the people you are auditioning for. You can share the code with them. Keep it a secret. Shh. Your injured casting agents, after they've hired you, don't give them this advice if they're not going to give you the role. But after they've hired you, which they will, then just be like, hey, check out Caldera Labs and use the code JOCKDOC for 20% off.
Yeah. So that's once again, get 20% off with code JOCKDOC at calderalab.com and make unforgettable first impressions that lead to the charming words, you look younger. Anyway, so that was our producer, Cameron. Also with us is Did You Know in the House? And later, Cameron tells me that we can expect a very special guest.
Ooh, that's right, Dr. London.
All right, so do look forward to that. But before we move on, I would like to address a bit of listener feedback. So for a long time, our listener demographic was primarily composed of scantily clad chimpanzees, also known as normally clad chimpanzees. But in our efforts to cater to them, we found that we were neglecting the many bot accounts that download our podcast. So Cameron, I understand we recently had some bots on TikTok responding.
Dr. London, that's right. We've had some of our favorite bot listeners comment and give their 2 cents on our TikTok comments, which we want you, listener, to do as well. If you've got a comment, hit us up on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, the comment section of the all cafe recipe on a mug brownie, where a lot of our community is set up there, and it's been really, really great. The comment we got was on the video replying to Shower, and then Selling Sunrises left a comment that said, not you making a video response to one of the 2 comments you got.
Yeah.
That's the feedback, that's not a question. You're supposed to ask a question, so you fail. Epic fail right there.
Yeah, but I do appreciate, so they said not you responding to these 2 comments. I checked the video in question because we do want to fact check here. We were trying to listen to the feedback. I checked. There were 3 comments. Okay. One of them was Cameron, I think.
Yeah, maybe, but also you're only considering one outlet. Guys, again, we're on all social media. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We are in the comment section of the allrecipe.com recipe for a mug brownie. So how many comments did that get on that day? I don't know. I can't keep track of it because there's so many.
Yeah. Oh, the numbers. So many numbers. So
to sit here and say not you making a video response to one of the 2 comments you got, you know what? You are right. That is not us, because that's not what we did. We
correct.
had 3 comments and potentially more on that recipe website.
Yeah. I'm probably going to get way more now.
Listeners of our podcast know this. Don't use numbers when you're giving feedback to us because it's going to confuse our listeners. Our listeners don't know things like 1 or 2. What our listeners know is this many or this many. So instead of leaving a comment like a coward, how about do a video reply and say, not you making a video response to this many of the this many comments you got.
Do comment. Do let us know your feedback, because, like I said, this is all helping us to make a better podcast. And so that is why we read the feedback. This is improving us so much. Finding out what we are not doing is really helpful. So, anyway, thank you to that listener. And now for today's medical topic, tarsal tunnel or tibial nerve neuropathy. You may have heard of carpal tunnel syndrome, which occurs when the median nerve is compressed as it travels through the wrist beneath a band of ligaments that form the titular carpal tunnel. But rather than being in the hand, the tarsal tunnel is in the foot. So tarsal tunnel neuropathy is located on the inside of the ankle and is formed by the ankle bones on one side and the band of ligaments that stretches across the foot. So tarsal tunnel neuropathy is a condition that is characterized by a pain and numbness in the ankle and the sole of the foot on the affected side. And this pain and numbness are worsened with walking.
And when you say the titular carpal tunnel, are you talking about from the movie franchise? Carpal Tunnel? Captain Carpal just learns how to tunnel. He gets a magic shovel and can tunnel anywhere he wants.
Okay, it wasn't a direct reference. Like, okay, I can't
when you
say it wasn't
titular, I just think of, like the titular character would be John Wick, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the title of that...
Of the Word document you have open?
Of the medical condition is carpal tunnel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, but carpal tunnel syndrome specifically. And so, but I do see your point that people are going to confuse this a lot with a movie. And I'm sorry, I can't help that. The movie was named after the tunnel. So, anyway.
Is it at least medically accurate? Well, we can talk about that later.
The shoveling?
Just the whole movie. I mean, it's basically a medical movie because it's named Carpal's Tunnel.
Yeah. I've done I have a separate podcast where I go through fact-checking movie titles. And you're just going to have to listen to that episode, honestly, because we do break it down pretty hard. Anyway, medical treatment for tarsal tunnel or tibial nerve neuropathy can be with pregabalin or gabapentin, tricyclic antidepressants, seizure medications, but surgical intervention may also be used in a procedure called tarsal tunnel release.
Oh, and just like in the third act of Carpal's Tunnel 2, when he had to get surgery.
Anyway, yeah. Yes, and all the movie buffs listening are going to go ham over this, but I just, there's a medical side and then there is a big Hollywood production side. And these are two different worlds that sometimes cross over, I think is the best way to put it.
You don't want to piss off the movie buffs, though. They're going to go on Letterboxd, Dr. London, and they're going to give you a half star. They're going to do it. I've seen them do it.
All right, so Cameron, I know you brought up that we have this really special guest, and I've been pretty excited because I've seen him in the newspaper. People throw around the term hero a lot, and mostly in reference to doctors and nurses. But like, there's this new trend that I don't know if you've heard about, where they've actually made these big movie productions, and they'll have superheroes in them. Huh.
So it's like a fireman, but he can put out even more fires.
Something to this effect. Yeah, I think so. So anyway, we have someone you'd think that he'd be making bigger headlines, once again, like those big movie productions, but I have only seen him mentioned in like sort of local news. There are a few scandals, I guess, but I'm gonna try to go easy, like journalism wise. But I do have some questions for our guest today, Captain Kaboom.
Wouldn't know. Don't read the news. Captain Kaboom, how are you?
Hello, Dr. London and Cameron. How are you today?
I'm good. You sound very formal, but which I guess is fair. You have had these. Once like I don't want to use the term scandal I shouldn't use the term scandal, but there are some things we shouldn't get into that yet. You are a super like an extra empowered human person. Is that right?
Why, yes, I am.
Okay. So you, just to read off some of your bio from Wikipedia here, I see you've got super strength. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. Can you fly?
I not actually fly. It's like really high, long leaps.
Okay. Like the old Superman
Yes.
that version. Okay.
Can you fly in that you're not on the no-fly list? Like, can you go to the airport without being detained?
No need for the airport when you can fly.
Yeah, but you're just sort of
doing
leaps and bounds, right? Like, if you want to go overseas, you can't just do that in the ocean, huh?
I like the challenge.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So you have all these powers and stuff, and I saw. Let me do the sort of because I don't want to taint your reputation. Once again, there are a few things I want to get to, but first, you did have these experiences where you help out in the local community centers, right?
That's correct.
Right. And a lot of people, wonder how, maybe for all of us who don't have all these superhuman abilities, we think like, well, how can we help out in the world? And yeah, going to a local community center, helping out where you can is a way to do it. But so one issue that I've found in reading up on you is the way that you help out. Because usually whenever someone has like superpowers, I would think they'd go to places where there are earthquakes or wildfires, as we talked about.
I do that stuff too, but sometimes you have to give back to the community and help the kids.
Yeah, so that's I guess what I wanted to talk about today. So like I see the most recent headline from last week is that you allegedly pushed a child into a toxic waste vat. A vat of toxic waste.
Oh yes, I've heard that one. That's a good one.
Okay.
I do love a vat of toxic chemicals.
See, you sound almost like you just saw the article and you were like, "Oh, that's cool." But you did this, correct?
Yes.
Is it because I mean, just the way you're trying to distance yourself from it, like, "Oh yeah, I heard that I did that." Let's be honest. Are you blackout drunk for a huge portion of this?
Well, I'm gonna have to talk to my manager and get back to you on that.
Your manager is passed out in the corner. Okay, I think that sort of answers the question. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. I'm glad we got that settled.
Yeah, it's just so like I read the interviews and it seems a lot like every time your method of helping out in these community centers does tend to involve. Like your way of helping is to try to give other people your powers or similar powers. And so I'm just wondering, is that really the healthiest way to, because a lot of these kids are just trying to like learn to be better at sports. And
well, I'm going to turn them into superheroes and we'll cover the planet.
Oh, and then make superhero sports. Now this I like.
And when you say cover the planet,
What's your issue, Dr. London? Sorry, Dr. London always has an issue with anything the guest has, basically. Any dream the guest has, Dr. London finds a way to shit on it.
Yeah, so there's just a good reason why we don't normally try to expose people to toxic waste.
Give me three reasons.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, give me 3 reasons that are better than you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, so one's the risk of, developing burns, sores, cancers. There's a lot of. I've seen other articles where Captain Kaboom has also there's been a huge radiation leak, and he brings all the children to it, in a nuclear facility, and so
a field trip.
Yeah, but like, so if
and you're against this,
yeah, because so I know in the movies and stuff, sometimes there's some miraculous combination of chemicals that makes someone more empowered. Whenever
what movie?
You're
saying this happens in Forrest Gump because I've seen Forrest Gump and that did not happen.
The running scene, was there no toxic waste there? What? Sorry,
that
the
I
running
don't know.
Scene.
Actually, I didn't finish the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
The running scene at the beginning of the movie when he's playing football. As a kid.
I meant
I understood.
the other. Yeah, well, okay. Well, we saw different movies. It sounds like because I remember the running scene.
Yes, you need some kind of what do you call it? Abnormality in order to affect a human being to become a superhero. Spider-Man had his way, and I have mine. Toxic chemicals.
So let's use the example of Spider-Man. The lore there is that he has a genetically modified spider that bites him, and that enables him to become this thing. But you're just taking stuff that we know is very harmful to humans and just exposing children to it, I guess in the hopes that one of these times enough abnormalities will be happening that it doesn't like give them cancer and instead makes them a superhero.
I have no idea what you're talking about, human.
Okay, wait, this is interesting. Are you not human?
I don't know. I was created.
Oh, wow. Do you know by who, or do you just one day you just were?
A writer wrote me, and then one day I just was.
Oh, wow. It's like Ruby Sparks when Paul Dano wrote his girlfriend and she came to life, and it was Zoe Kazan.
If you say so.
Oh, I was thinking that 80s movie where they made a hot girl on a computer.
Yeah, basically.
Same thing.
Either Real Genius or Weird Science or one of those.
Oh, you're talking about...
Yes.
That. Kelly LeBrock.
Yeah. So, okay. So you were weird scienced into existence. Okay. I do appreciate, I want to say now, I do appreciate that you, once again, are trying to give back to the community in the way that you know how. But it does seem like on all these occasions, because famously the same day that you were at this community center pushing kids into vats of chemicals, bringing vats of chemicals to the community center, putting them in it, as everyone protested and tried to stop you, but you are super powered, super strong, so they couldn't stop you. There were these wildfires raging, the hurricane, there's a monsoon in Yemen, I think. Like, a lot of things were happening at the same time that maybe could have been a better use of your powers. And this is me looking on as someone who isn't in your superhero world, except doctors are superheroes. So what was your reasoning whenever you decided to focus on pushing these kids into chemicals while these wildfires were raging, while hurricanes and monsoons were happening?
The truth is that there's someone in our group that organizes things, and he's a little mad at me right now. So I've been getting more of the B-list stuff lately.
You're part of a group?
Yes.
Okay, because I've only seen the articles about you. I didn't know that there were other superheroes out there.
There's like a Justice League situation going on?
Something like that.
What? I mean, yeah, what's the name of this? Who else is in this club?
Batman, Robin.
Oh,
Superman.
Wow. So just, the major hit. So to the Justice League. You're part of the Justice League is what you're trying to say.
Indeed.
Okay. So yeah, when you said it was sort of like the Justice League, you kind of meant...
I'm basically just like Superman.
I mean, that's got to get tough if he's in the same little crew as you, right? Like, is he jealous? You're like the up-and-coming dude?
He does jumps too. That's how he goes. We learned from the same coach.
I guess, but he also like flew around the world so fast that he reversed the spin of it, you know?
Yes.
So he definitely can fly.
Definitely.
And sorry, coach-wise, I thought his dad was his coach. Or Who is your coach?
Well, that's the thing. I was just written, so I just am. But we have different fighting coaches in self-defense.
I guess that's more what I meant, because if you shared the same coach.
Yes, I've been to seminars with Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman.
So these are just like these are like workshops that you do at conferences, like team building and stuff. Okay, that's your training.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, I guess. Come to think of it, I guess that Cameron and I have also had a lot of the same training as well. Potentially the same training. I didn't realize the same training maybe as Superman does.
Awesome. Maybe you two should sign up to be superheroes. Just step into my office with the toxic waste and I'll get you set right up.
Yeah, no, I'm going to be honest. If I'm going to get involved with toxic waste, I'm going to go the evil route. That seems a lot more my vibe. Like I'm going to go villainy.
And like it seems like maybe the villainous route, like dude, they might have more safeguards. They might be working on like making it a safer thing. It sounds like, once again, you're just pushing kids into cancerous substances.
Yeah.
Well, when you say it like that.
Yeah, stop saying it like that.
Yeah, if you don't look at it like that, it's not like that.
Yeah, this is Dr. London is a pessimist. He's always looking for the negative in everything.
I can see that.
Yeah. Well,
I can solve that problem.
Oh, that's part of your powers? You can like control people's outlook on the world?
Of course, I'm a superhero. I can do anything.
Okay, and see this, and I hate to say it, but like this does sound like maybe it's not a power, it's more of a pride thing.
Well, this is sort of interesting. Like, can all superheroes do anything, and like their superpower is just what they choose to do? Like, can Aquaman technically do anything? He's just like a weird loser, and so he's obsessed with fish and whatnot.
You bring up a good point. What can I say?
Well, I guess the answer to the question would be one option, but it sounds like, okay. What I'm hearing here is really that you feel like you can do any of this stuff. Have you tried to change someone's worldview? Because so far, my viewpoint is the same here.
Well, it's funny you should ask that, because every time I try to help somebody else comes along and they seem to be a better fit.
Oh, you're talking about, yeah.
Like coaches and things of that nature.
I was going to say.
Because my thing is basically I like to find, young children who are insecure and need to build up their self-confidence. And I go pay them a visit and I teach them some things.
Well, let's not take that sound clip. I just want everyone to know now that's in the bigger context, what he just said.
Well, I mean, what's the confusion, Dr. London? He finds vulnerable, insecure children and then he gives them, what they need.
Yeah, it's just, okay, but you do bring up a good point of I in those interviews, because you were usually gone from the scene by the time the reporters get there. You've moved on to whatever other vulnerable community center, but the coach is like, yeah, I was trying to teach this kid how to shoot hoops, like mostly about dribbling, proper form, whatever. And then you would come in and say, hey, what if we push this kid into some toxic chemicals? Or I got this radiation gun, this x-ray, whatever, and you're very excited to bring that to the table. And they're like, well, we were actually just gonna run through some exercises here, stretch. And then you seem to change and force a change.
Is this a question?
I'm just,
this is like an elaborate scenario.
Sorry, I know I'm the only one who read the article. Is one of the issues here. I'm the only one who did the reporting homework here. So yes, you, Captain Kaboom, seem to have your own way that is worse than the coach's way, but you still force it because you're invulnerable.
That's correct, I suppose.
Is that a question?
Thank you. Yeah, I guess it wasn't a question. I'm sorry. I'm leading the witness.
It's okay, human.
Yeah, Dr. London, you're not supposed to talk to the guests like that, because then none of this is admissible in court.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Our entire funding comes from the fact that we sort of use this as an interrogation for people who have a warrant out on them.
You should listen to Cameron. He sounds like he knows what he's talking about.
Well, he's been to court a lot more than I have, yeah. So there are these these underlying issues. But I guess I have a question for you. How do you make your, like, do you have a day job? I know a lot of these superhero types, the lore is that they have their own day jobs. Do you have a day job? Because I notice you don't wear a mask, which most of them tend to.
My job full time is superheroing.
Oh, wow. Where do you live? Do you have a house?
I live in a mansion with other superheroes.
Okay, so you're a freeloader. Okay, I kind of get the idea of what's going on here. Yeah.
So you're unemployed. Yeah, you could also just say you're an entrepreneur or whatever. Yeah. So you're unemployed, living at some other acquaintance of yours. I was gonna say, like, it sounds like this league you're in would be funded by someone else. So maybe they employ you, but and they send you to the. Do they know what you do at the community centers? With
Why, yes.
with
Why wouldn't
cancering
they?
kids? Just because their rep is really like maybe a little bit. I don't want to say better, but that is kind of the only thing that's coming to mind. Well, they sound like people who think of consequences to their actions a little bit more, and like if pushing and like maybe not harming children as much.
What is your fixation on the like supposed medical side effects to pushing children into a vat of toxic waste? To me, this would be like you going to the skate park and being like, "Ooh, you kids, you're going to get injured. You don't want to break a bone." Like, yeah, people know the risk, but if they want superpowers, this is what's going to, like, you have to do. This is what you have to do to make that happen.
You got it, Cameron.
Just like if you want to do a 360 or a kickflip or a nollie or even impossible, you need to.
I have
you need to
I
risk
can ollie
skateboarding.
I can ollie over a building.
Oh wow! I mean, again,
Do you tell that to the kids?
It would be better if you could fly.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you didn't see the part of the video where I did fly away and went right through the roof of the gym.
Yeah. No, there are a lot of these videos circulating where you do destroy a lot of property in your entrance and exits. So just
I enjoy doing that because often people don't believe in me, so I like to show off at the end.
right. You explain to them how powerful you are, push the kids into a vat, and then you destroy part of their structure. So
I don't know if I like the way this is going right now.
yeah.
Sounds like could it be a liability? I hope my team's not listening.
Yeah. Well,
This is typical Dr. London, like, gotcha journalism. He brings you in here and is like, "You've been pushing kids into this vat that's giving them cancer. Why?" And it's like, "What? How about you shut up? That's why."
Well, it's like, why don't you ask Spider-Man why he got bit, or the Incredible Hulk how he became? We all have our own path.
so first of all, it was against their will. They didn't like that happening to them. The Super Spider-Man.
You're saying Spider-Man doesn't like the fact that when he's with the lady, he can hang from the ceiling upside down, which is the ultimate move. You're saying he doesn't like that?
Spider is a cool cat. I do like me some Spidey.
Okay, so a lot of questions to answer here. Okay, so to Cameron's point, I know that you have an elaborate pulley system to try to imitate his move over
Sure.
the bed. But that's separate. So Spider-Man, I believe, does like the effects that he's had, but he did not have a choice, and he was a minor whenever he was bit. So he's not, like, he can't give consent to these things.
That's true, but what about the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, I guess he took the risk. That is an example of an adult man taking the risk of radiation
You could just
exposure.
I'm the Incredible Hulk. Just imagine.
Although
I'm
no,
green.
he was also injected with something whenever he was very little, but by his parent or guardian. So I guess okay.
So there you go.
But the thing
All
is, those
questions
children.
clarified.
No, okay. So there are the children who, the way Cameron puts it, they know the risk. These are children who are trying to learn how to play basketball or soccer or baseball.
Dr. London, some of the best skateboarders in the world are minors. They're 14 and 15 years old. Some of the best in the world. And that's true of soccer, too. Those are the two sports. Maybe gymnastics. And there's risks with all of those. Soccer, You can get like grass stains on your shirt.
Cameron makes some good points here.
Gymnastics, you could fall. Skateboarding, chop your head off.
So for these kids, I guess one issue that is that whenever they are pushing this toxic waste, it doesn't make them better at basketball. It does make them, have a terminal illness, though.
Yeah, they're better at that, though.
Well, I have not seen that. I've had a high success rate. A lot of my students now are basically invincible and play basketball or whatever their sport is like champs.
See, I feel like maybe you just don't do the follow-up as well because, I just read. Maybe I just read too much and I see all the tweets.
I think I'll send you a sample of the toxic waste to analyze. I'm interested to see what you would say.
Yeah, no, there's a reason why we have a certain way to dispose of these things, because once again, it's carcinogenic.
By what Dr. London is trying to say, dispose of it into an envelope, send it to Dr. London, set up a contraption where it flings into his face, sort of like Bjork's stalker in the 90s did with acid.
Of course. Done deal.
And see the fact that you're so...
Just need to zero in on your coordinates.
And you're sure...
I can just give you his address.
You're sure you're with the... I'm not as sure now that you're with the Justice League. Because...
Trust me, I am.
For one thing, the Spider-Man is not in that particular league. So that's... It seems like maybe you're just...
All he said was he liked Spider-Man. That's...
Okay. So maybe... It just sounds very vigilante villain from what I'm hearing.
To me, it sounds like he's squatting in the Justice League house. I gotta ask. I mean, do the Justice League members know that you live with them? Is basically what it comes down to. Do they know that you're there?
Cameron, I plead the fifth. No comment.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's just a squatting situation. Yeah.
Okay.
My living situation is perfect. I'm in the basement of their mansion by myself.
Yeah, and I'm guessing
with toxic waste.
They've got a nice hole and they're going all through it whenever you jump out because, of course, fly is not what you do.
My goodness, are you a stickler or what? Do you ask Superman these same questions?
If we could get him on... Okay, I will drop this line of questioning if you can get a Superman because now I don't know. I'd like to hear his take on you because.
Well, it sounds like he might not know who he is.
No, he definitely knows me. I served him breakfast this morning.
Oh, okay. So you're this is like a Downton Abbey, like you're sort of a butler to the Justice League.
I'm working my way up.
Okay.
Even you said you were a superhero full time, but that's what this means is when you're mostly being a butler, and then in your time off, you go and try to help out in community centers, which often means helping, like exposing children to toxic chemicals.
No comment.
Yeah, well, I do feel like we're getting a pretty good, nice picture of who you are, which wasn't a guarantee going into this because your manager was pretty protective. And then he started pulling drinks out of his coat pocket. So, but in any case, I feel like we're about done. I think we covered it. So, all right, it was great to have you on. All right, thank you so much to Captain Kaboom. Is there anyone that you want to give a shout out to? Anyone you're a fan of out there?
His name is Arrash, Arrash, last name Pirasteh, Pirasteh. And you will find some interesting stuff on his Instagram.
Okay. That's his handle on there?
Okay. Yes. Arrash Pirasteh.
Okay. All right, neat. All right, well, thank you so much to Captain Kaboom. Thank you to our producer, Cameron. My name is drlennonsmith.com, and this has been the Jock Doc Podcast.